For more than a century, the car industry taught America and the West to worship machinery as if it were destiny. A real performance car, we were told, needed cylinders, gears, shafts, differentials, oil pressure, heat, noise, and metal moving against metal with violent precision. In Detroit, that belief had a V8 heartbeat. In Europe, it wore the badge of a handcrafted V12, a dual-clutch transmission, a carbon body, and a history book full of racing victories. And for a long time, that belief made sense. Mechanical complexity was proof of superiority. More parts meant more engineering. More sound meant more soul. More heritage meant more authority. The old world did not just build cars. It built a religion around combustion, transmission, and steel. But every religion has a weakness. It begins to confuse tradition with truth. And that is exactly what happened. The legacy performance world started believing that because it had mastered the old laws of speed, it could not be challenged by a new language of engineering. It assumed the future would still be ruled by pistons, gear sets, and forged metal. Then BYD arrived with a different answer. Not louder engines, not heavier hardware, not another luxury badge wrapped around familiar physics, but batteries that become structure airflow, that replaces wings cooling systems that attack heat at its source, and software that calculates traction faster than any mechanical differential can react. This is not a new chapter in performance cars. This is the beginning of a mechanical empire losing control of the rules. At the 2026 Beijing Auto Show, BYD did not behave like a company trying to impress the crowd with another fast electric car. It behaved like an industrial power revealing a weapon system. Through Yangwang and Denza, BYD brought out 4 machines that attacked 4 different pillars of legacy performance. At the same time, structure aerodynamics, thermal control, and off-road traction. That is what made the moment dangerous. It was not one prototype. It was not one headline number. It was not one concept designed to look futuristic under stage lights. It was a coordinated demonstration that the old mechanical formula was being surrounded. For decades, Western automakers believed performance could be defended through refinement. Make the engine smoother, make the gearbox faster, make the chassis stiffer, make the brand more exclusive, add more carbon fiber, more leather, more history, more theater. But BYD's message was colder than that. The future would not be won by polishing yesterday's machine. It would be won by replacing the machine itself. The Denza Z attacked the structural weakness of convertibles. The Super 9 attacked the old dependency on wings and drag. The Yangwang U9 attacked the heat problem that limits high-performance EVs. And the Yangwang U8 attacked the sacred belief that serious off-roading requires heavy mechanical linkages. 4 vehicles, 4 pressure points. One message to the West: the next era performance will not be ruled by the most beautiful mechanical parts, but by the company that controls material, software, airflow, and heat better than everyone else. The first blow was aimed at one of the oldest problems in performance car engineering, the convertible. In the old mechanical world, removing the roof from a fast car was not a design choice. It was a structural injury. The roof is not just there to keep rain off the driver's head. It acts like a tension bridge tying the front and rear of the car together when the chassis is being twisted under cornering loads. Cut it away and the body begins to flex. That flex is not cosmetic. It changes suspension geometry. It delays steering response. It makes the car shake through the windshield frame and lose precision exactly when the driver needs precision most. This is why so many high-performance convertibles have always carried a hidden penalty, hundreds of pounds of reinforcement buried under the floor. Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and other legacy brands have spent decades fighting this problem with metal. More bracing, thicker sills, heavier cross members. The result is usually predictable. The car becomes stiff enough to survive, but too heavy to feel pure. The convertible becomes a compromise wearing a performance badge. The Denza Z attacks that entire compromise from underneath. Instead of treating the battery as a heavy box bolted into the car, BYD's cell-to-chassis logic turns the battery system into part of the car's skeleton. The floor is no longer dead weight. It becomes a structural spine. The battery housing, reinforced through advanced materials and load-bearing architecture, is designed to absorb force-resist twisting and connect the vehicle's suspension points with extreme rigidity. That changes the equation. When the roof disappears, the car does not collapse into the old convertible weakness, because the strength has already moved downward into the platform itself. The battery is not cargo anymore. It is architecture. For an American audience, this matters beyond one exotic roadster. If structural batteries can make an open performance car stiff without massive steel reinforcement, the same logic can reshape EV pickups, SUVs, and long-range platforms where weight is the enemy. Every pound saved can become more range, more payload, more acceleration, or more safety margin. This is why the Denza Z is dangerous. It does not simply make a convertible faster. It suggests that the next generation of vehicle structure may not be built around the frame first and the battery second. It may be built around the battery as the frame. The second strike was aimed at another sacred object in performance engineering, the rear wing. For decades, the formula was simple. If a car became unstable at high speed, you bolted a larger wing onto the back. That wing forced air upward, pushed the car downward, and gave the tires more grip through corners. But there was always a cost. A wing is not magic. It is a trade. It gives you downforce, but it also drags a wall of disturbed air behind the car. At track speed, that drag becomes an invisible anchor. The vehicle grips harder in corners, then pays for it on the straight. This is the old bargain of hypercar aerodynamics control in exchange for resistance. The BYD Super 9, also known as the Formula X, attacks that bargain directly. Instead of using a massive external wing as the center of its aerodynamic identity, the car turns the body itself into the device. The front section is carved to manage air before it becomes a problem. Airflow is not simply blocked or pushed aside. It is guided, accelerated, and redirected with precision. That matters because at high speed, air is no longer soft. It behaves like mass. It hits the car with force pressure and consequence. Old school design fights that pressure with surfaces. The Super 9 tries to organize it like a system. The most important work happens underneath. By sealing the floor and shaping the underbody with Venturi-style channels and a rear diffuser, the car accelerates the air beneath it. Faster air means lower pressure. Lower pressure beneath the vehicle means the atmosphere above presses the car into the ground. In plain language, the road is not pulling the car down. The sky is pushing it down. That is the terrifying elegance of ground effect thinking. You can create grip without depending on a giant drag-producing sculpture mounted on the rear deck. You can make the car feel planted without turning it into its own parachute. For Europe's old performance houses, this is more than an aerodynamic experiment. It challenges the visual language of the supercar itself. The wing used to be a symbol of seriousness. The Super 9 suggests it may also be a confession of inefficiency. And for American performance culture, the lesson is just as sharp. The future may not reward the loudest hardware or the most dramatic bodywork. It may reward the company that can make invisible pressure do the work that metal and carbon fiber used to do. The third strike went after the weakness every high-performance EV tries to hide heat. Electric cars can produce absurd acceleration. That part is no longer shocking. The real question is not whether an EV can be fast for 10 seconds. The real question is whether it can stay fast after punishment begins. That is where many performance EVs reveal the truth. Push them hard enough, and the numbers start to collapse. Motors heat up. Inverters heat up. Battery cells heat up. The computer sees danger coming and begins cutting power before the system destroys itself. The driver may have paid for breathtaking horsepower, but after repeated acceleration, braking, and cornering, the car quietly becomes weaker. This is thermal throttling, and it is one of the great hidden compromises of electric performance. The Yangwang U9 attacks that compromise at the source. Its quad-motor E4 architecture is not just about producing huge power. It is about controlling that power under extreme thermal stress. When electric motors spin at ultra-high speed, the internal forces are violent. The rotor is trying to pull itself apart. The copper windings are fighting heat and expansion. The entire system is operating like a turbine trapped inside a sealed metal chamber. Legacy solutions often add mass, more metal, more shielding, more conservative power limits. BYD's approach is more surgical. Carbon fiber reinforcement helps the motor survive extreme rotational forces without relying only on heavy steel. Silicon carbide inverters reduce electrical losses and manage high-speed switching with far less wasted heat. Then comes the most important part, direct cooling at the point of violence. Instead of merely cooling around the outside of the motor, the U9 uses oil cooling to attack heat closer to where it is created. That changes the meaning of repeatable performance. The car is not just built to deliver power once for a headline sprint. It is built to keep deploying power when the system is under pressure again and again. For American buyers, this matters beyond the racetrack. Heat is not just a Nürburgring problem. It is a desert highway problem. It is a towing problem. It is a mountain pass problem. It is what happens when an EV has to perform in Arizona heat climb in Colorado or accelerate repeatedly on long interstate runs without turning into a protected, power-limited version of itself. The U9's message is brutal in the next era. Horsepower alone is not the weapon. Thermal control is the weapon. The fourth strike did not target the racetrack. It targeted the mud, the rocks, the flooded road, and the belief that real off-roading must be built from heavy mechanical hardware. For decades, serious off-road vehicles were judged by the same old ingredients: locking differentials, transfer cases, low-range gearing, solid axles, thick drive shafts, and the kind of cast metal parts that made drivers feel protected because they could see and understand the machinery beneath them. That is the world of the Jeep Wrangler, the Ford Bronco, the Mercedes G-Wagon, and the Land Rover Defender. And to be fair, that world earned its reputation. Mechanical four-wheel drive carried people through deserts, forests, snowfields, and mountain trails long before software could be trusted with anything serious. In American culture, especially, off-road credibility was physical. You wanted gears. You wanted steel. You wanted something that looked like it could survive being dragged across a rock in Colorado. But the Yangwang U8 attacks that belief with a completely different philosophy. Instead of sending power through one central mechanical system, the U8 uses a quad-motor layout where each wheel can be controlled independently. There is no need for a traditional drive shaft to decide how force travels from front to rear. There is no need for a mechanical differential to weight, lock, slip, and react. The computer sees what each wheel is doing and adjusts torque almost instantly. That is the threat. A mechanical differential reacts after the problem begins. A software-controlled motor can respond while the problem is forming. If one tire loses grip on wet rock, mud ice, or uneven ground, the system can cut torque from that wheel and redirect force to the others with a level of precision that old mechanical systems were never built to deliver. This is not brute force traction. This is calculated traction. And BYD pushes the logic further with active suspension and terrain sensing. Instead of waiting for the vehicle to crash into the trail and then recover, the system can prepare the body before the impact arrives. The road is no longer just something the vehicle absorbs. It becomes data. That should make Detroit uncomfortable, because America still builds some of the most respected off-road machines in the world. But if the next generation of capability is measured not by how much metal sits underneath the vehicle, but by how fast the vehicle can read, calculate, and respond, then the entire off-road hierarchy begins to shift. The U8 is not saying steel is useless. It is saying steel is no longer enough. The real danger of Beijing 2026 was not that BYD showed 4 impressive machines. The danger was that each machine attacked a different weakness in the old industrial order. The Denza Z challenged the idea that vehicle structure must begin with a traditional frame. The Super 9 challenged the belief that grip requires visible aerodynamic hardware. The Yangwang U9 challenged the hidden weakness of electric performance heat. The Yangwang U8 challenged the faith that off-road capability must come from heavy mechanical linkages. Taken separately, each one looks like a technological achievement. Taken together, they look like a doctrine. And that doctrine should matter to Detroit. Because the American auto industry still has enormous strengths: manufacturing, scale truck culture, brand loyalty, dealer networks, union labor, and deep knowledge of how Americans actually use vehicles. Ford, GM, Ram, Jeep, and Tesla are not weak companies. But the threat is not that China simply builds faster cars. The threat is that China is redefining what capability means. If structure becomes battery chemistry, if traction becomes software, if downforce becomes pressure management, and if durability becomes thermal control, then the old scoreboard changes. The question is no longer who has the loudest engine, the strongest axle, or the most famous badge. The question becomes who controls the deepest technology stack. For American buyers, this could eventually affect everything from EV pickups to performance SUVs. For investors, it raises a harder question about which companies are truly leading and which are simply defending old margins. For workers, it points to a future where industrial power depends not only on assembly lines, but on semiconductors, battery materials, control software, and thermal engineering. That is why this moment should not be dismissed as Chinese showmanship. It is a warning flare. The West is not being challenged by one car. It is being challenged by a new definition of the automobile itself. For 130 years, the performance automobile was defined by mechanical confidence. The world trusted the brands that could machine the finest engine tune, the sharpest gearbox forge, the strongest axle, and make metal obey through precision and force. But Beijing 2026 exposed a different reality. The next war will not be won only by the company with the greatest heritage. It will be won by the company that can turn batteries into structure air, into grip heat, into a controlled variable, and software into traction. That is the shift BYD is forcing into the open. Not a faster car, not a louder claim, a different industrial language. And this is the part Detroit, Europe, and every legacy automaker must understand. Mechanical excellence is still valuable, but it is no longer a shield. The new battlefield is deeper, quieter, and more mathematical. If the old world continues defending the past with nostalgia, it may discover too late that the future of the automobile was not stolen from the engine bay. It was rewritten underneath the floor, inside the inverter, across the airflow, and in the code controlling every wheel. The mechanical age is not vanishing overnight, but its monopoly is over.